everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Tolu Ayahadewusi. It is always a wonderful time to be in the kitchen, sharing my recipes with you and cooking with you at home or wherever you might be around the world. I am really excited to be doing this particular recipe because it's a pastry, if you know what I mean. You see that look, right? Well, I'm gonna be making something someone has requested for a couple of months now. One of my followers, she wanted me to do a recipe on meat pie, and this is my Oga's favorite snack. It's gonna be hard for you to get me to make meat pie, you know. When he has bribed me enough, then I'll make meat pie, or if a client is really paying, then I'll make meat pie, or if it's just something that is just out of the blue. Sometimes, you know, you crave something. But today, we're gonna be making meat pie, the wonderful, most famous, delicious Nigerian snack. If you go to Naija, my people, and you know chop meat pie, I beg, go back again. You have to experience meat pie. A lot of people, whenever they think of a Nigerian snack, automatically what goes to mind is meat pie, and there is always different variations to how you make your meat pie. But today we're gonna be using the beef, the grounded beef, for our meat pie filling. You can do chicken pie, you can do fish pie, you can flip it and move it around however it works for you. So without taking too much time, let me introduce you to the ingredients we're gonna be using today. Of course, we have to use the almighty flour. So we're gonna be using about 4 cups of flour, about 500 grams of flour in this recipe today. We're gonna be using, for the filling, we need some potatoes, we need the ground beef. I'm gonna put in some diced carrots, onions. We're gonna put in some green pepper. I love to have green pepper. It's optional, you can decide not to go with that. And we're gonna have some seasoning here. So this is the thyme, the nutmeg, the salt, bouillon, curry. Then we have butter. Butter also has to go with the flour to start up the mixing. In this cup, I have some baking powder, and also here I have some cornstarch for us to thicken up the filling. So I'm gonna separate the ingredients so you can know which to use from the start. So again, for us to start, we're gonna have to use the flour, we're gonna use 1 of the eggs, and we're gonna use butter, we're gonna use some baking powder. This is what we're gonna use for the crust of this meat pie, and for the filling is gonna have to be the ground beef, the potato, the green pepper, the onions, the carrots, and the cornstarch is for the roots to thicken up the filling, because when you cut a typical Nigerian meat pie, it's not dry and it's not runny, but it has this kind of creamy looking way it looks. So this is what this is for, and this is the seasoning. You don't want to eat your meat pie and it's blank on the inside. So this is the seasoning we're gonna be using for this meat pie today. And just FYI, whenever I make meat pie, I always want to use unsalted butter, because that way I can put the salt myself to make sure that the crust I'm going for is not too salty. But sometimes if you don't have unsalted butter, go for your salted butter and just skip the salt altogether. And some people, when they make their meat pie, they like to put some sugar. I do not like a sweet meat pie, so I do not use sugar in my meat pie at all. Guys, this is Tolu Cooks, and let the fun begins.
Tell me who you know, who plans better, that dream come true. She not there disappoint.
The first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna measure out the flour that I need, and I actually have a scale out here. Turn that on and let it zero out. I'm gonna put my bowl on it and zero that out. Now it's on 0. So I need to change the units though. I want the units to go on grams. So do not pack your cup. You just want to make sure you get your cup full, but you don't want to pack it. So this is my cold butter. I did it that way so I can cube it. And I just drop it into my flour. Now we have that in there. I have my baking powder, and I'm gonna be using 1 teaspoon. This is 1/4 teaspoon. So if you do my calculation right, I need about, so we got 1 teaspoon. So the next thing we need to do is we need to try and break that in so that it goes into a crumb. Make sure your hands are clean. Then you need to start breaking that in. And then now it's like a breadcrumb. You see that? That's just the butter, the flour, and the baking powder. We want to make sure we get it like that. Then at this point, I like to use my egg. Be careful of the shell. And I start mixing in. Now I'm just gonna put very little water. The egg is liquid, remember? So I cannot put too much water. And at this point, if you don't want to use water, you can use milk. But just make sure if you're using milk or water, it is cold. You don't want to use warm or hot water in this. So I'm gonna put just a little. And I'm gonna work it together. And I'll try my best not to overwork it. So it's old enough. Well, I used altogether about 1/2 cup of water. And I do not want to overwork it. Like I said, just gonna let this come together, and I'm gonna put them in a clear film. I'll divide it into 2. I'll put it in a clear film and I'll let it sit in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, so now we have our pot sitting on the stove. I'm gonna start browning the beef, and I'm blushing. I got a new set of pots, some Rachel Ray pots. So I'm excited to see how this is gonna turn out. It's our first time of using it together, so we'll see. So that is the brown beef. We do not need any oil. Automatically it's gonna bring out some oil that we need to kind of like get out of it, because we do not want to leave all that oil inside, and if we do, it's gonna make our filling too oily and it's gonna let the crust break easily. So we're just gonna break up this beef. You don't want to leave it like that. If you leave it for it to kind of like get brown first or get real hot first, it's gonna kind of like turn into one solid mass, and it's gonna be harder for you to break it up. So while the beef is warming up and browning up, you want to keep mixing it together and keep moving it around so that it's kind of break into little pieces that you want. just want to keep breaking up the beef as it's coming up together. You want to make sure that you break it up. You don't want it to kind of turn into one solid. And this is 1 pound. 1 pound of ground beef. I said brown beef. If you see that, that's quite a lot of oil. So I'm gonna try and get rid of a lot of the oil before I start putting in all the ingredients, because I just don't want the oil to kind of like steal my ingredients and my flavor. Okay, at this point, it's not totally cooked, but I can transfer that to the side so I can get the oil out. So at this point, I've gotten out quite a lot of the fat, and now I have my ground beef. You can see, look at all that oil. If I have left that in there, it would have made it so oily. So I got that out of it. And at this point, I like to add in my potatoes because I want it to cook down. You can decide to cook your potato first before putting it in. I don't. I usually do that before, but there is no point because I'm gonna cook it in with my beef and it's gonna cook down. And at the same time, I'm still gonna bake the pies, which is gonna cook more. I'm just gonna put a little bit of water. Because of my potatoes, I want it to really cook down. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in my carrots. And I'm gonna go ahead and put in my onions. If you want it spicy, this is the time you're supposed to put in your habanero. But I'm just gonna cook my regular meat pie. See how pretty that looks. Sizzling. I'm gonna put in some thyme leaf. Seasoning to taste, my people. You just don't want to make it too salty. Remember, by the time it bakes up, all that flavor is gonna show up big time. And just a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna put in some nutmeg for that extra flavor. I'm gonna mix. So I'm gonna cover this up and let it cook together while I make my thickener for it. This cornstarch, so I'm gonna take about 3 teaspoons. Yeah. And I'm gonna put in some warm water and try and mix it creamy. Gonna have to help these off the spoon and mix it in well. There we go. it. We make it small. We're gonna go back to the stove and we're gonna go add this into our meat, potato, carrot mix. Okay. You see that it's cooking fine and it's not burning. So we're gonna go ahead. We have this. We're gonna add it well. And we're gonna mix that in well. You see how thick that went so fast. So we're still gonna have to put in a little bit. You see, it kind of made everything to come together. It's no longer loose meat. You see that? So I'm gonna go ahead with my green pepper. I love green pepper. I love green pepper. I love nutmeg. So don't blame me when I try to put it into everything. And I also make it look colorful. I'm just gonna let that go on for about 2 minutes, just for everything to bind together properly. And we're gonna go ahead and start rolling out our dough. Our dough out of the fridge. Now this is the filling that we already made, all set out. I'm gonna break the egg that we're gonna use to close and to do the coating. So we're gonna use 2 eggs. I like to be generous. 1 should be fine. So now I'm gonna be using the surface here. So I already cleaned, but I'm just wiping down again. The bud is not big enough, so I'm gonna use the surface. You see that? It's look good. I do not like a thick crust, so I might have to go just a little bit more. And I have my cutter. I go right in the center. I push down, I cut. If I'm trying to use this to cover, all I have to do is put it here and make sure it comes to the tip, but I really don't care much for that. So I have that there. I move the excess flour to the side. Take a scoop of the filling. Do not overfill it, because when you want to close it, you have an issue with the closing. That looks perfect, my people, and that goes in the pan. And we take that and we put it in the pan. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on the oven and put the oven on 375, and I'm just gonna set it on 30 minutes because I'm about to put it in already. So it's gonna take about a few minutes for the oven to pre-warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in holes on the top. That way the heat will have a way of escaping and our dough will not break easily. With the recipe we made, we're about to make about 10, 12 pies. So I'm just gonna take the egg and I'm gonna brush it on it. I like to be generous. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick the pies in the oven. And it usually would take us about 20 to 25 minutes for the pie to fully bake and it's ready to eat. So I will show you in just a little bit what we came up with. Okay, that means that is ready. Let's go in the oven and get our pies out. Now we'll see what it looks like. I'm gonna put it on the plate and let you see properly in a minute. Okay guys, this is the meat pie we made today. I hope you've enjoyed cooking with Tolu. Look how beautiful this look, and I can tell you this tastes delicious. I will break one apart so you can see how it looks on the inside. Look at that. It is not dry at all. Look at all that steam coming out. It looks moist, you see that? It has a very nice feeling. And this, I'm sure, is gonna be yummy. Do you want me to taste it for you, mini money? Oh, I can put the two in my mouth. Oh, This is heaven. Guys, I need you to try out the recipe and let me know what you think. But always remember to hold on to your faith, love your family, and hold all your wonderful friends close to your heart. This is the tree of life that keeps us going. And remember to always share my videos, like them, and subscribe. I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Tolu Cooks. Man, this thing is delicious. I can't wait to take another bite. Let me see what you can come up with, how you make your meat pie. If you think there is something I can tweak, I would love to try your recipe also. Thank you. I love you. Mwah.